My God, you're wearing flowers.
Of course I am. I love flowers.
You are a flower.
I am a flower. Welcome to my garden. This is called Film Poems.
Yeah. We're here to prune your mind.
Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna
We're here to
pluck the weeds from your fucking soul. Welcome to
we're
Film Poems.
your sense of aesthetic is going to bloom
Yes.
like a fucking flower in the
Yeah.
morning dew.
Look, he's writing
Werner
poems already.
Of Werner Herzog.
So yeah, welcome to Film Poems.
Willkommen.
Willkommen. We talk about a film or two once a week. I write a poem for each one, and we just tear it apart for however long it takes.
It is a brutal examination of the human spirit and why our society is so crappy.
It's collective murder.
It's collective murder. It's brutal and vile and base.
Will be doing Werner Herzog impressions the entire episode.
Have to elevate you. They know that. They know who it is.
Yeah,
They know who it is.
Well, they know because they clicked on the video, because this week we are doing our double feature and we are covering FITZCARRALDO and Burden of Dreams, the documentary about the making of FITZCARRALDO. Both Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog by the great Bavarian film poet.
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is read my poem. Will's going to give you a synopsis, and then we're going to get into it. So here is the poem. It's very brief. My heart is like my child, and I hold it in my hand. It flits and squirms for rapt release to its brighter plenty lands. I do not wish to let it go, though heaven rings to say, put it in the river, girl, and I will carry it all the way. That's it.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah.
It has a very sonnet kind of feel. Is that in pentameter? Is that like?
I didn't intentionally put it in pentameter, but it was making me think of like a song or a prayer or a psalm where you petition to God to do something or surrender to God.
That's your whole life.
It is, my definition of success is becoming so close to God that I completely dissolve.
Get you a God-fearing woman, gentlemen.
Yeah.
You do you, but just make sure she's on the level.
So that's the poem. Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, they don't always have to be long. So, do you want to give the people a synopsis of FITZCARRALDO and Burden of Dreams?
Well, FITZCARRALDO is 77. Is that year it came out? 77?
I'll double check while you go off. So
it took Herzog 5 years to make this film because
1982.
82. Okay.
Yeah.
It took Herzog 5 years to make this. Oh, okay. That's why I thought 77, because they started in 77.
Yeah, that's when they started.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's shot in Peru. It's set in Peru, and it follows an Irishman named Fitzgerald, and the Peruvians call him FITZCARRALDO, and he has a dream to bring grand opera to the Amazon basin. And the story is how he finances that dream and what he has to do in order to make that dream a reality, including sending I think it's like a 50-ton steamship over a mountain. And the amazing thing is that Herzog actually did it.
Yeah, literally did it for the film. Yeah.
And then Burden of Dreams covers how the film is made.
Fraught with peril.
Fraught with peril.
And misfortune and twists and turns of fate.
And Sadly, I believe people do perish. Uh, People are definitely wounded
Hmm.
in the making of FITZCARRALDO. Uh, let's look that up actually real quick, because I found conflicting sources on the internet.
Yeah, it's conflicting. It's Herzog himself said no one ever gets hurt on my film sets, but then I've also read that people got malaria. I mean, the first actor left because he got dysentery, whatever, but like I don't think there were any deaths, but some people got like attacked by other natives. A guy in the documentary gets an arrow through the neck and they're able to save him,
Yes.
which is crazy.
Let's see. Let's see. Jamie, bring up Deadline magazine.
It's so
You think
hard to say.
you think Klaus Kinski ever did DMT?
Oh my
Ugh.
God. He did something else, I'm sure.
He was born.
He was born and that was his drug experience. Klaus Kinski is a crazy
Here's a good
motherfucker.
one. Let's not skip past the fact that the cruise camp was invaded by neighboring tribes who wanted them gone.
That doesn't mean anyone was hurt though.
But I mean, well, that's how the arrow got through the person's neck.
But he made it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to say how much of if what Herzog is saying is true, or if like these reports came out and they were gossip or rumors because people, didn't approve of the film
I
back then
am
or now.
reading. I am reading that. Oh, sorry. Did I say 50-ton steamship? I meant 320-ton steamship.
Yeah, it's enormous. It's
And yeah, no, someone did get a disease that and perished,
well,
and someone drowned. So
ah,
so
that's
yes,
rough.
at least two people.
Okay.
Um,
Well, this is a really good uh segue into like a major point that we kind of maybe want to address a little bit with the film is like most people who hear about this film now just totally want to discount it for its what
I
colonialist themes.
I don't know about most people, but there's certainly a vein of grievance around the film, and I suppose what people that are aggrieved by it believe it stands for.
Yeah, they find it problematic.
We should try to figure out if it actually stands for what they claim it stands for. Um,
Well, my whole stance with all movies, not just this one, is kind of what Fellini says about movies, which is that
yeah.
movies are like dreams, and they
Mm,
don't follow everyday logic. They follow their own inherent logic, and
that's
the
very
only way
true.
you can understand them is the same way you can attempt to understand a dream.
Hmm. Hmm.
You go to an analysis session or you speak to a Jungian therapist, you'll be able to pick apart your dream pretty well, and you can probably come up with a very solid argument for what it meant, but it's still just a guess. You can't take all of the events and their effects and find every single causal link. It's impossible because it's all
Mm,
symbolic. And
mm,
a, a, a movie is like a hallucination. It's like, I mean, one of my favorite
hmm. Hmm.
film journals is called Bright Wall, Dark Room. And that kind of sums it up.
That sums it up.
Yeah, you're in a dark space just like you are when you're in sleep, and something emerges from the darkness and it appears to you in these images,
Hmm.
and you try your best to make sense of it. It's
Hmm.
not so literal. It's more about what it makes you feel, what the symbols represent, what this thing is supposed to embody about the theme. I don't
Hmm.
think it's so literal. I really
Hmm.
don't think it was ever intended to be that way. And honestly, that might be part of why movies suck right now, because people are taking these narratives so literally.
It's all about money too.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. And
Yeah.
if everyone's up in arms about certain narratives, then they're not going to make those kinds of narratives. But like,
Well,
maybe
not only
don't.
will they not, well, not only will they make those kinds of will they not make those kinds of narratives, excuse me. There's two more things that I think we have to consider is that they, in an effort to appear pure and clean and free of thought crime, they won't make any narrative that even hints a suggestion that they could be narrative that way. So it limits your ability to express something for fear of it being taken the wrong way, and it also creates a desire to create antithesis of those narratives. And you know it's not even settled if these narratives are anything more than a canard. You know, it's just virtue signaling.
Yeah. And it's become so fucking tyrannical that I feel
Yeah.
like it's robbed us of the ability to just freely dream.
Yes, yes, I agree.
That's what movies are for.
Right.
That's why we love them
But
because
we
they.
still have to contend with the fact that two people at least died on this film.
Well, that's another thing that you and I wanted to talk about, and we'll break down like the plot and like all that shit in a sec.
Sure,
But like
sure.
another thing that we wanted to talk about was, one thing we were talking about when we were meeting during the week is like if you make a film like this and people die or get injured, you kind of have to finish it
Yes, that's
because
true. I think that's
otherwise
true.
it wasn't their lives, it wasn't worth anything. You have to finish it. Otherwise the injury and the pain was meaningless.
Yeah.
But then the question arises, is it worth someone's life to make a film? Like I think Herzog would, I don't know. I don't know what he would say, but he's obviously concerned about people's physical lives, but
You can see the pain on his face when he's being interviewed during Burden of Dreams.
yeah, he's clearly like distraught about the process of making a film because he ends the film saying like I should be put in a loony bin and considered a madman. I should never be allowed to make a film again. But
Right.
he also says like I live and die with this film. Like if I give up on this film, I'm a man without dreams and I can't live like that. I have
Yeah.
to finish this.
Yeah.
So that's like the trouble there is like at what cost and what happens if you can't let it go as an artist. You have such a deep connection to it and like he says like he feels it's his duty to do this film regardless of the cost perhaps because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are is what he says. And I don't. I almost want to say what's more important than that, but then again, we've got potentially lives on our hands. I
All against the backdrop of so much war in the world right now.
watching this film, you mean?
Yeah. It's like,
Well, no one's going to war for art,
oh, that's true.
but people are going to war for
We
whatever
are.
they feel their duty is. And you'll do anything in the name of your duty if you're really truly convicted in your duty.
I'm trying to decide if that's a net positive or a net negative.
That's the thing. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the whole question of the entire film. Like, is this a success or is this a failure? And the same can be said of Burden of Dreams. Burden of Dreams, watching it alongside FITZCARRALDO is really great because you can see that FITZCARRALDO is basically a stand-in for Herzog. And the film process of making the film is just the same as the themes that are explored in the film itself. And the film is a masterpiece. The film itself is a success because it's so beautiful. But then again, is it a success even though people
I mean, I read one essay that was saying, was it worth all of that to get these really nice shots of the Amazon basin?
I know, but oh,
Yeah,
I
interesting question might be if Herzog had known that his film was going to cause death, destruction, and mayhem, would he have still done it?
well,
I
he's
don't think
all.
so.
I don't know if he would have, but he was warned a few times in the film of like some of the dangers, and he pressed on anyway
Yeah, an engineer told him that he only had a 30% chance of sending that ship over the mountain.
without hurting several people.
Right, right, right.
And Herzog's defense is this is literally the metaphor of my film. If I lose this, the film's over. So he's in a
Hmm.
really difficult
Hmm.
position.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I have such a personally I'm going to admit this. I have a
Mm.
very relaxed relationship with death. So so for me, if I were in his position, maybe I would have pressed on as well.
Really? You would? You think you would have?
I don't
No, I
know.
don't.
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
so.
I
I don't
really
think
don't
so.
know. I'm an extremely compassionate person and I love people, which is why I'm having difficulty answering this question, but I also
Yeah,
know I'm like
yeah.
extremely convicted when it comes to stuff like this, and I have a relaxed relationship with death. As we discussed in the Baraka episode, you know?
I don't think that we can really know until you're there. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you just don't know.
yeah.
You have to experience it yourself. All we can really do is
Hmm.
speculate. But we know
That's
what he
right.
said, and we know what gets chronicled in Burden of Dreams.
Mm.
And we
Mm.
can't say for sure if anyone actually did get hurt or not, but we know where he stands. Anyway, I do want to talk about, I mean, the main thing that's important to me about talking about FITZCARRALDO is that ending
Mm.
of is that a success or a failure?
Mm.
And one thing you and I were talking about during the week is we kind of need a new definition of success and failure. Do you want to like
Well,
elaborate
yeah.
on that?
So just for some background, so as I said earlier, the objective of John Sweeney Fitzcarraldo is to bring grand opera to the Amazon jungle, and
Jungle. We love the way he says jungle.
yeah, really, and no one will financially back him. So what he decides to do is he decides to become a rubber baron,
So that he can fund it, right?
so that he can then build. He can get so that he can get money to build the opera house, and he manages to send his ship over the mountain so that he can gain access to a previously inaccessible, excuse me, previously inaccessible section of forest where they have rubber trees. But then once he manages to succeed to get the ship over the mountain, the natives who helped him do it in an effort to quiet their angry gods and heal their own society, they untether the boat and send it down the other side of the river that he's now gained access to, and sending the ship through a world rapids,
Mm-hmm.
and he just completely invalidates getting the ship over the mountain in the first place. He just ends up starting right back where he left.
Well, that's the question. Does it invalidate the effort of getting it over the mountain?
Well, he then sells the ship back to the guy that I don't think he bought that ship from him, but this guy was one of his financial backers. So he sells the ship to one of his financial backers, and then uses that money to stage a one night performance of opera in the Amazon jungle. So
In the jungle.
yeah. So that's the question. Did he succeed or fail? I mean, you can tell from Klaus Kinski, the actor, from his body language that he's won. You know, he's posing as a conqueror.
Yeah, I still feel like there's some sadness there. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a bittersweet,
that's
maybe.
what I felt from him in those final moments when he's standing on the boat. Like, look at everything I did, but also like this isn't what I originally set out to do.
It does feel like a bit of a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what was tripping us up is like
Mm,
technically he succeeded because technically there is opera in the jungle now.
yeah.
But there's no opera house like he originally planned. He doesn't
Hmm.
have the money from the rubber like he originally planned.
Hmm.
I mean, nothing as he saw fit transpired. Only the like main kernel of his goal is what succeeded. And I think this really ties in with what Herzog's super dark opinion of nature is. I mean, Herzog says that nature is collective murder
Hmm.
and that it does have a sense
It's
of
vile
harmony.
and base.
Yes, yes.
The birds do not sing; they scream.
They scream. Which when I first heard that I laughed out loud. I was like, "Oh my god, that seems so absurd to me." But then he goes on to say that nature does have a sense of harmony, but it's not a kind of harmony as we can conceive of harmony. It's not any kind of harmony that
Mm.
we can understand. And he
Hmm.
says, I don't hate nature. I know it sounds like I do. I love it, but I love it against my better nature or against my better judgment. And we were
Mm.
saying during the week that
Mm.
by existing, you are tampering with the forces of nature. You're mingling and commingling and tangling with nature and
Yeah.
all of its power and unique logic and harmony, kind of like how
Hmm.
a movie has its own unique logic
Hmm.
and harmony,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
And uh, you can impose your will on nature, but nature will always have something over you that you cannot understand.
Hmm.
And so I remember when I first saw that ending, I was I was experiencing what I'm talking about is like that feeling of like, okay, he technically won, but I still
Hmm.
feel sad and I feel so impotent because you feel powerless in the
Hmm.
face
Hmm.
of knowing that like you're only going to get some of your dream. All of the everything that you want to have control over, something greater than you has control over that. All
Yes.
you get is the heart of it.
Mm.
And that can be like enough and meaningful, but
Hmm.
it I think what makes it feel like a failure is knowing that like it didn't go as planned. It didn't go the way he wanted it to
Hmm.
go, and he
Hmm.
didn't get the exact result he wanted.
Hmm.
He only
Hmm.
got a partial result.
Hmm.
That's what feels like failure to me. That's what frustrates me.
Mm.
What do you think?
I think a lot of people feel like that. I think there's a lot of people in today's world that they don't even bother with their. Heard this great phrase, lifting a finger toward their dream.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Yeah, like they don't even bother lifting a finger toward their dream because they know that fate will win in the end, and it's therefore meaningless.
But you see, yeah, this is why we need a new definition of success and failure because you can't, failure doesn't mean that it's meaningless because failure is still part of didn't you say it's still part of like the schema of meaning? You can't, like,
Oh yeah, it has
that
to
is
be.
its own meaning to
It's. I
fail.
mean, the whole movie is Sisyphean, right? I mean, they're literally sending a ship up a ramp. You know,
And he succeeds in getting it over the ramp, which honestly, when you're watching the film, is an extremely impressive feat.
and then
Because,
when they're partying, it just rolls back down.
yeah, well, because they cut it, the natives cut it.
Mm-hmm.
But like watching that and knowing that it's literally happening because Herzog is literally doing it is really fucking impressive to see the human ability to do something that crazy. And the thing that's beautiful about FITZCARRALDO himself is I told Will, I don't remember the last time I've seen a character or even a person believe in something so deeply as this guy believes that he can get that over the mountain and get his opera house. He fucking believes it.
Yeah.
And he does it. And it's crazy. Um yeah. So I think success, oh, this is what we were saying. Success is kind of like a story. It's a story you make about your life. And failure is also a story. And we were saying that in order to live, you kind of have to like be a liar. You kind of have to be a liar. Because to tell it, the story is not really the truth.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I see. I think of it more like the story is nothing more than a way to organize, information and matter. It's more like blueprints rather than the house itself.
Yeah, and just like with analyzing a narrative, like in a film or in a dream, it's only one story, you know? It's only one way of looking at your life. So it can't grasp the heart of what is underneath that story because that's beyond words.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, and if anything's the truth, it's that, but we can't see all of that. We can only see different interpretations. You can't see the whole heart of something. At least not yet.
Well, I think that's a very mental way to look at it. Not that the mentality part isn't a big component, but remember Jordan Peterson's Lobsters?
Oh, what does he say about lobsters? I don't remember.
That two male lobsters might compete, and the winning lobster gets a huge boost of serotonin, and the losing lobster has a serotonin drop off. So there's something embodied about success.
Sure, yeah. Um, I just mean that like the truth is so much bigger than what we can grasp with understanding, and
Absolutely.
I think
Yes. Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Right.
and
Right.
I think you can understand deeper components of it through your body versus your mind, but then you can't always put words to what you feel in your body, which is why dreams and images are so great because it's not the work of explaining something to you through words, it's speaking to that like for lack of a better word, unconscious part of you.
You're reminding me of that famous scene in Burden of Dreams where he's talking about the violent baseness of the jungle, and then he compares these Western civilized human beings to that, and he says it's like we are half finished sentences in some suburban novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you ask,
Yeah.
if you, there's an interview with Herzog, and he's like, years later when he's an old man, and he's like, I don't know what the hell the metaphor of the boat going over the mountain really meant. That's why I made it an image. I'll leave it to the poets and the people who are gifted with words to tell you what it meant. But I had to explain it this way because that's the only way I can.
Yeah, there is a sense of not really knowing what it means, because anytime you I mean, any work of art, that the it seems that the relationship of the creator to the work is that the creator is more of a channeler.
Yeah, dreamer
Yeah, and
offering you their dream.
yeah, right, right. But they don't necessarily understand the dream themselves.
No, 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 no.
You know, people ask me like, why do you want to do this? What's going on with that? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why I do the things that I do. And I think that makes people uncomfortable because we want to believe that the people the what they call them, the great men of history, that we want them to have a sense of knowing why they're doing it, because I mean, if we ask Napoleon, hey, why did you conquer all of Europe? At least it makes us feel better that Napoleon has an answer. But maybe it's that he doesn't actually know.
Yeah, the answer is just a guess. Like, how do you
Yeah, it's a
really
guess. It's a
answer
guess.
for your own life? You can't. You really can't when it's your life. All you know is that you have certain beliefs and feelings
Yeah.
and impulses from your body, like these
Hmm. Hmm.
signals,
Hmm.
and you just feel compelled to follow them. That's that's it. And it's
Yeah.
up to everybody else who knows you to interpret that. I mean, you can interpret that as best you can, but you'll never, like, it's you. If
That's
you're if
yeah.
you're the one experiencing it, it's a lot harder.
That's why I
It's
think the best symbol in Fitzcarraldo is the pig.
Oh, do tell why.
Because the part of Fitzcarraldo's dream is
Oh
to
yeah.
get the pig and the not only the pig but the little children that that like to visit and pester him, uh, in order to hear the Caruso records. He wants to get all of them their own box at the opera house, and he'll get a velvet chair, a red velvet chair for the pig.
And at the end, he does get a red velvet chair, and
And he
lots of kids
does,
are watching.
and he does, and he does, and the it would be absurd to think that the pig would understand the plot of Rheingold. It was absurd.
And op
But it's in the same way that we can't understand our own manifestations, our own dreams, our own achievements. We ultimately can't understand them in
this
the
is why
same
people
way.
go into analysis. Like, yeah. Like if
Yeah,
I
but I mean, do you think that, I mean, if we're starting with the premise that we can't understand it, that it's causally locked, uh, or causally closed, why even bother going into analysis if we can't understand it?
Okay, I'm not saying it's completely causally
Oh,
locked.
I'm saying that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I used to interpret people's dreams for a living.
That's
and
true.
and like if I would do it on myself, which I did all the time, it's a lot harder. It's so much harder. You
Yes, it
and
is.
and you know what would happen when I would do it on myself? When I would do it for other people, I would be able to have this very crystal clear narrative that I could type up and send to them. It was so clear to me, the patterns and whatever. But
Hmm.
I don't know all the little tiny inklings in their blood. Like that's them.
The
And then
inklings in their blood.
and then
I
when
like
I
that.
would do it on myself, what would end up happening is I wouldn't be writing it out in words. I would like
Mm.
sit with it and feel it
Hmm.
because that's the only way I could understand it. And nine
Hmm.
times out of
Hmm.
10,
Hmm.
I would get to a feeling and then reach this precipice where I couldn't understand any further, where there was just like this gaping void. And I was like, you know what? I just don't know. And then I would let it go. Like, because it's so much more vast. I mean, just like Herzog says, there's a harmony to it, but it's not a harmony we can conceive of. I'm saying there must be something else within our bodies and our dreams and our minds that we can't grasp yet because it's so deep. That's my sense anyway. I don't know. But I definitely think that's true of films. I mean, and dreams. That's what I think.
I mean, I know with my own work, I just make the films that I see in my mind's eye. And I don't understand why I get the vision that I do. I just have to articulate it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't, and I know of very few artists who are able to articulate it.
Yeah, this is why when you like give me a break and you're like, go write and express something, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna express.
You don't
I
know.
don't know what I have to say.
Yeah.
And then an image comes or a feeling comes, and then you just follow that thread. And you
It's
don't
so
really
odd,
know what
isn't
it
it?
means.
It's so odd, isn't it, when you have something to say but you don't know.
I
You
know
don't
what
know
I know what I care about, and it's like in
what you value.
what I value, and that's what
Yeah.
this podcast is for. I think for both of us, it's like an easier way to articulate what we value by talking about other people's art. But when it comes to my own art and writing novels and writing poems, I don't know why when I'm working on a novel about Rapunzel, and remember one day I was just sitting down and I heard her name. And I was like,
Right.
why her? I have no
Right.
fucking clue. I can
Yeah,
make
right.
tons of guesses and tell you what I think, but I bet you I'm still not right. I don't think it could be fully articulated. All I can do is
Assuming you
present
can be
you,
right.
assuming I could be right anyway. All I can do
Right.
is offer you the images and let it do whatever dance it's supposed to do in your head. That's really it.
This is this a sorry state of affairs? I mean, is this
No, I don't think not knowing is a failure. I don't think not knowing is a sorry thing.
well, we live in a hyper literate world, and the our economy runs on professional services and technocrats, people that are paid to know,
They're lying
scientists.
to you.
You think so? You think they're? I mean,
I told you.
but doesn't that take us down the road of no? Actually, the Earth could be flat.
No, okay.
Does it not?
There are things we can prove, and those are the physical things. What you and I are tangling with, right?
Some physical
Some
things.
physical things. Right now, you and I are tampering with the forces of nature,
That's
not just the physical things.
Well, we went to the moon. I mean, we split the atom. I mean, they're not tampering with the forces of nature. Surely they
They
are.
are, but we're trying to go even deeper than that, I think, by talking about something as transcendent and ephemeral as this.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to do something harder than the Manhattan Project. We need
That's
money.
not what I'm saying.
We need funding. We need.
No.
We need.
No. I think that's pretty damn close to fucking that is tampering with the forces of nature.
I think.
But that guy fucking dreamed.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right, actually.
About like particles and he dreamed about it.
Yeah.
He was haunted by visions
Oppenheimer,
of
you mean?
Yes, Oppenheimer was haunted by visions of particles and worlds that he had never conceived of before.
Right.
He's a dreamer.
But I know he certainly is a dreamer. I think there might be something to what we're saying is that it's easier to split the atom than it is to articulate the truth of dreams.
Yes.
I think it is. I think that probably is I mean, for all the difficulty and billions of dollars that went into the Manhattan Project, and the greatest minds in the world racing against the other greatest minds in the world, to develop this instrument of terror, that was somehow more achievable than our work, which is to articulate dreams.
Because believe it or not, that is still more in the realm of our human understanding than articulating the nature of dreams.
But isn't I mean, aren't human beings dreaming creatures? I mean,
We are, but I don't think we.
isn't this the fundamental quality of the human being? Is the awareness of one's own dream? I mean, isn't that what it means to be a human being?
Yeah, the awareness of one's own dream.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but that
we
doesn't
know
mean
we know
that doesn't mean
we know that dogs dream. You know, we can see them, running in their sleep.
but in levels of consciousness, like as high as we think that is, to be aware of your own dream, that's just one rung. That's just awareness. You can be
Yeah.
aware that you're dreaming, but that doesn't mean you can deeply probe and fully understand the dream. That's the next rung. If we're gonna keep going,
It
you
even
know?
assumes that there is something to be understood, which
Yeah,
maybe
maybe there
not.
isn't.
Maybe there isn't.
Maybe there isn't, which is why I have such a relaxed relationship with
Terrible.
death.
Oh, that's why. Because you're a nihilist. It's
No,
like
I'm not a nihilist. No, I'm just okay with. I'm just so okay with the fucking unknown. I mean, to live is to know you're going to die and to not know how.
You realize that every episode of this podcast, we've circled back to this thing.
I I mean,
Every episode is that we've circled back to how do you live a life of meaning in a world that's inherently meaningless. I mean, how does one even approach that
but
problem?
we say that, but we really don't know if it's meaningless. It's just probably
That's
beyond.
true.
My guess in this moment, I don't know if I'm even
This
gonna
is why
believe
it's a
in this in
burden.
5 minutes.
This is why it's a burden of
It's a
dreams.
burden of dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to believe this 5 minutes from now, but my guess in this very moment is that maybe it seems meaningless because it has its own order, harmony, and meaning that is beyond our comprehension. It doesn't fall within our realm of meaning making, and so it seems meaningless.
I think that's right. The only thing I would add to that is that the reason, or a possible reason, that it could be incomprehensible is because we're involved in it.
Right. It's just like when we're trying to interpret our
Yeah.
own dream. We're
Yeah,
the one
right.
involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the we're the fish in the fucking water going, what's water? You know?
Yeah, right. Right. Right.
By the way, Will looks so handsome, right, guys?
They,
Doesn't his suit look great?
okay. All right. All right.
Anyway, yeah, that's my guess. But going back to what I said for a split second earlier about lying,
Mm-hmm.
is like to tell a story or to define your life in terms of a narrative. I mean, we've talked about this. Doesn't it kind of feel like a lie? Like, because you're putting you're wrapping a cloak around this black
Infinity.
void like infinity and trying to like dress it up as a person, and it's its own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Talking feels like lying. That's why I was so resistant
Talking feels like lying.
to doing a podcast or putting anything out there for a really long time, because it really feels like every time I open my mouth I'm lying. And the only time I feel like I'm in the presence of truth is when
Yeah.
I'm in the presence of silence.
Yeah, right.
And
Right. Yeah.
and
What a terrible thing.
is it? I don't know. It's kind
I feel disappointed by it. Yeah. I mean,
it's just the way it is.
it's better, amor fati and all of that, but it is
Yeah.
better to love it than it is to be bewildered by it, but I think in either case you have to be in awe, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
also awesome.
Hmm.
It inspires awe. And like there's nothing you can do about it. That's what it feels like.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I
wouldn't we rather be like Dylan Thomas and Rage into the Night?
no.
No, you don't want
I
you don't want
told
to
you, goal is to be
you want to
so I wanna I wanna go I wanna, you know,
you're a renunciate.
a renunciate?
You're a renunciate. Yeah,
What are you
you're winning the game by renouncing the need to play it.
I have made peace with losing. And
Yeah.
it's not even losing.
You
Like I hate that
like
they call it
like all
giving up
men.
the ghost. It's not,
Yeah, right.
I'm not
That's
giving
interesting.
up. I'm just letting go. I don't need to hold on.
Like all men, you wish to know the way to win, but never the way to lose,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
die.
This is what I'm saying. um
Yeah.
I mean, like in my everyday life, I feel myself like trying to exact control over things and not wanting things to go a certain way. And if people die in a way that feels unjust to me, I get upset.
Mm.
Okay. But like
Well,
I
that
know,
takes us back to the production of this film. Was that a just death for these
yeah, exactly.
Peruvian tribes people
But but
who were paid $3.50 a day
but then
to
I've
make
also
it?
I've
Which, to be fair, was twice what the Peruvian government paid them.
exactly. um but then I'm also the person that can go to a funeral and be like, guys, this is a celebration. Why y'all sad? Like they're on a new adventure now. That's fucking cool.
That's right.
And that's really healing to a lot of people actually.
That's true.
And I just don't think it has to that's the trouble with this film is like we said, is it a tragedy or a comedy?
Mm.
And you can decide that about anything. And
Mm.
I don't want to believe that death is a tragedy. If you think of it in
Mm.
Shakespearean terms, then sure, it's a tragedy. But it's when you think about it in an embodied way, like it's you're just letting go.
Well, Shakespeare's tragedies in particular are so affecting and arresting because not only does everyone die, but no one achieved their goal, or
Yeah,
or they achieved their goal ironically.
right.
You
And
know,
then
yes, Hamlet does kill Claudius, but at what cost?
we're back to this idea of causal links. Like
Mm.
I think in a neat narrative, it seems like it's easier to find the links, but there are still unknown forces inside Hamlet that we can't fully comprehend, you know?
Oh, that's very true.
Like, of all the choices, you made that one. And that's the mystery. Like,
If we
why?
asked, if we asked Bill Shakespeare
Billy.
what he thought, or what he thought that Hamlet meant, would he have an answer? I mean, we're over here claiming that artists don't know what it is they do.
I think you can have a literary answer, but
Okay,
that's
all right.
insufficient and not complete.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, you can have a literary answer, which is why academics are literally the worst.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that's interesting about this film is
Not intended.
nice. The other thing that's interesting about this film is when they present the first few minutes of the film, they're presenting you with opera. And
It's such a great scene.
you know what's really also cool? I'll get back to it in a
I
second,
love
but
it.
what's also cool is the opening shot is you like slowly rising up the stairs as the viewer to see the opera house. And that reminds me of like slowly rising up the mountain and then to have it
Yes,
fully descend.
yes, yes.
um but when they present the opera, it's it's presented very absurdly. Like it makes opera look silly as an
Well,
art form.
that's kind of the danger of opera is that it because it's so grand, it can become very, very silly.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think
If it takes
uh
itself too seriously, it becomes silly.
silliness and profundity are very close lovers.
Yeah, I believe in that
The more profound
very
you get, the
deeply.
more absurd you get.
Yes, yes, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
And
Um,
and you can see that in the film because even though you're getting presented with like utter absurdity in the first like 10 minutes, even
mhm.
like following Fitzcarraldo in the very beginning, you're like, this guy's a little, look at him, just fucking look at him, he's got shock white blonde hair,
Yeah,
crazy fuck, it's Klaus Kinski, like
yeah,
come
right.
on. And it feels like that way for a long time, and then you are in that room with him with the kids and the pig, which is still a little bit absurd, but less absurd.
Very absurd. I mean,
It's
a
less
pig.
absurd than what we just saw. And he's playing,
Maybe.
maybe, I don't know. I feel like you're slowly going down the rung of absurdity to like the heart of what he actually cares about with opera, because it keeps getting more and more spare. And
Hmm.
then it just
Hmm.
ends with you
Hmm.
hearing Caruso on the boat.
Yeah.
And when you hear Caruso on the boat, you're like, oh, actually, this is really beautiful.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's
And the
really,
way. Um, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one more thing, and then it's just that knowing that like there's that weird discordant feeling of being in this vast jungle and and feeling the beauty of nature, but then seeing Fitzcarraldo all alone on the top of this boat playing Caruso and hearing it echo throughout. It's like the height of the beauty of man and the height of the beauty
Yes.
of nature in concert
Yes.
together. It's very cool.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
all. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Well, no, that's lovely. I was just going to say that the power of Caruso's voice, even though the opera that they see at the beginning of the film is perhaps overproduced and silly, the power of the beauty, as you say, of Caruso is able to keep the savages from killing them.
Cabbages, cabbages.
They're not even human. We got to make that video. It's so good.
Yeah, it keeps them at bay.
Cabbages, cabbages. They're not even. It's so stupid.
I know. We have really stupid
Seriously
senses of
retarded
humor.
ideas. Yes. Seriously, we're just complete idiots.
Um, yeah, because they're experiencing something awesome, awe-inspiring.
Well, I think if we go back to the the post-structuralists and all of their colonial post-colonial nonsense, saying that all culture is interchangeable, and the very Rousseau point of view that in fact it's the savage that's noble,
Mm.
and it's we Westerners that are so horrific. I think playing Caruso and getting the indigenous Peruvians to become pacified or awe-inspired, with opera, which is a product that only a civilized culture could possibly invent. Note that I don't say the West because, of course, there's China, there's East Asian opera, there's Chinese opera, there's
Yeah.
Japanese no theater, etc. I think that I'm not saying is that the West is innocent.
No.
I'm not saying that, but only but opera, something like opera, something as exalted as opera, could come out of a highly developed culture. Only highly developed cultures can produce works of art like this,
Yeah.
and you have to take the bad with the good. There's no highly developed culture that doesn't have some means of conquest.
Yeah.
But all society, all human societies are conquest societies. There's no human society that isn't doesn't have an intimate relationship with conquest.
Yeah, if you prioritize the cohesion of relationships and not ever get
Yeah,
into conquest, then we're in the huts forever.
that's right.
We don't have society without conquest.
That's
You,
right.
you just don't.
Yeah, that's right. And again, it's not an excuse, but
No, but
I,
it's just the truth. That's
it's
just
just
how
the
it
truth of it.
works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're social predators.
Yeah, don't forget that
Social
you're a
predator.
fucking animal.
You're an animal. You're
Don't
an
you
animal.
fucking forget it. Oh my
Klaus Kinski
God.
didn't forget.
Klaus Kinski wakes up every morning and chooses violence.
Yeah.
I love that video. Oh my God. I was watching that right before this call and I was cracking up.
That's so
Guy's
funny.
fucking insane.
He's so nuts.
Literally insane. Yeah.
The tr- um the tribesmen after
Yeah.
the production was finished went to Herzog and asked if they wanted Klaus Kinski murdered.
Yeah, and Herzog declined.
Yeah. Well, so I think that tells you right there is that this notion that the noble savage is at peace and living in harmony with nature. I mean, the fact that they were just so ready to just kill this person on behalf of Herzog. I think that tells you right there. It's like, yes, living in harmony with nature is a form of violence.
Yeah, you have to engage in violence in order to live in nature. Like,
Yes.
because nature is violent. If you're gonna
Yeah.
be in harmony with nature, you're gonna be in harmony with violence.
That's right.
It's a
That's
violent
right.
existence. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
So does that mean we live in a hell world? I mean, do we live in like is I mean our obviously our higher order mind is it prefers non-violence.
Well, we talked about this last episode. As you said, it's a garden world that we sometimes turn into a hell world. And just because you're in harmony with nature doesn't mean you're only in harmony with violence. There are other parts of nature that are not
Hmm.
violent.
Hmm.
You
I
can
think
find them.
I think what indigenous people have over us civilized peoples. And people are going to come at me and say, indigenous people are civilized. What does civilized mean? No, that's not what I mean. You know what I mean. That there's an animism to it. That they see everything as being alive, whereas we have a tendency to see everything as inorganic and machines and mechanical. Even
Yeah,
ourselves, which that I think is the sickness.
right. And
Which,
they
yeah.
they when they engage when you engage in violence when you're connected with nature, it's for a very clear purpose. It's usually,
Ooh.
I mean, well, hold on. Just let me look at this.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, let's think about it as if we were in harmony with nature. If we were in harmony with nature, it is kind of like tending a garden. You have to weed out the rot and you have
Hmm.
to feed the people. So, when I hear that they want to kill Kinski, maybe that's like a little bit of loyalty to Herzog, but also Kinski is a fucking anomaly. He is a rot because
Hmm.
he's insane. And
Hmm.
that's not good for the fucking tribe. So if that was your fucking,
Hmm.
like, you'd wipe him out
Yeah.
because he spells death.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And the problem with
Interesting.
civilization and violence is because the other thing I was going to say is that if you're more connected to nature, you're not going to do it needlessly. You're only going to do it when there's need, and you're going to do it with respect and honor because it's alive and you
Yes, I think
acknowledge
that's
it
right.
as alive. What bothers us about violence
Yes,
in the civilized
yes,
world is that
yes.
we disconnect the thing from its aliveness and we treat it like any other object and just dispose of it like trash. There's no honor, there's no respect, there's no acknowledgement of the life that is there.
Is that
That's my guess anyway.
I think you're really onto something with that. Well, my question is that can civilized people have that kind of connection with nature anyway?
I think only if you temporarily or permanently go off the grid or seek moments of respite in nature or experience nature enough that you
Yes.
know what the difference is, you know?
In Germany, well-to-do people will live in the city, but then it's very customary for people of means to have homes that are in the countryside and to go every 2 weeks or so
That's very
because
good.
the Germans love their forests.
That's very wise. That's
Yeah.
better than being a rich son of a bitch in New York City and having a summer beach house in the Hamptons. Like
Yes, I agree.
an attempt at connecting with nature, but that's not cutting it.
I don't think the Hamptons pass the vibe check at all.
No. No, but the
Not at
forest
all.
every 2 weeks, that passes the vibe check for
That
sure.
definitely passes the vibe check. Yeah.
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 That's good for your soul. That's true nourishment. Going to the beach for
Yes.
like a month in the Hamptons is more like it's like buying a product.
Yeah, it is.
You're buying an
It it
experience,
is
a
that. It
novel
is that. It
experience
is
that
that.
it's not about actually connecting with nature.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, you go out there and you hang out with Ina Garten and Ryan Seacrest and you hate yourself. I mean, I
Ugh,
think that's
just the thought of that makes me want to vomit all of my
I
energy.
was at a thrift shop yesterday getting some clothing,
Hmm.
and and I saw a shirt that was from the Ryan Seacrest fashion line, and it was so horrific.
Oh
It was
God.
so horrific. It was like polyester, and the pattern was terrible, and the stitching left so much to be desired, and the
Even the
cut was just
clothes
wrong.
don't acknowledge that you're alive. The clothes
That's right.
dress you as if you're
Yeah,
an object, like you're
that's
a
right.
fucking doll and we can just
Yeah.
put plastic on you. Like
Yes,
it's
yes,
so
yes.
gross.
It's like that Tom York song, like fake rubber plastic plants,
Rubber plastic
baby
rubber
buggy bumpers,
trees. Yeah,
whatever
something
it's
like
called.
that.
You know the one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
fake plastic trees, I think it's called.
And a fake plastic life. Yeah, fake plastic trees. Yeah.
Fake fan.
Are you a fake fan of Tom
No,
York?
no, I'm just
I
kidding.
think I am. I
I
think I
think I'm
am.
accusing myself of being a fake fan for not knowing that because I fucking love Radiohead. Um,
Great song.
Great song, great band, great guy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Is there more we want to say about the film itself? Because we've talked a lot about the greater ideas that it inspired, but is there anything else we want to say about the film?
I don't know. I think that I think that it disturbs me a little bit that Herzog doesn't know in hindsight what it was all about.
Oh, I remember the first time I told you that you appreciated it. It disturbs you now?
Well, I guess I appreciate it because it's so honest, but it does disturb me because we typically think that hindsight is 2020, right?
It's
There's a I mean I think this is going back to more about big ideas rather than the films, but I'm still stuck on this about what's the point of pursuing your dreams even if you don't even know what they are in hindsight.
I'm when he said that, I personally interpreted it the way we're kind of talking about it right
Mm,
now, which is
mm,
like I could tell you what I think, but like it came from me. So it's more unknown to me than anybody else. Like I know
right,
what I care about, but
right.
why that specific image? Why Rapunzel? Why, like I can't tell you why.
Hmm.
That's just what came up.
Hmm.
Why did you make a film about hot dogs, Will? Like, it just came up,
I have no idea.
Okay, he's sitting under a tree. What's he doing? He's eating a hot dog. Okay.
Let's actually have him eat 14 hot dogs.
Okay. This was the writing process for me as
Disgust.
well.
It's disgust.
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's roll with it.
It's
Dream
disgust.
images.
It's
Yeah.
disgust.
That's all you can say about it. Is
Yeah.
that for you it was a symbol of disgust.
Hmm.
For Herzog, that boat is probably a symbol of human ambition and dreams and willpower and all of his feelings
Hmm.
about nature
Hmm.
rolled
Hmm.
up into an image because the
What
image.
what do we think about ambition?
Can you be more specific?
I mean, are we into it? Are we not into it?
I
Is it?
mean,
I'm into it.
I'm fucking into it, but like turns me on. But you know, I I think well this is the other thing I wanted to ask. Do you have, and this I think can relate to the question you just asked. If it doesn't, then we'll just answer that.
Yeah,
But what is your personal definition of success?
I don't have one.
Okay. So instead of not having one in general, do you have like a personal one? Like what's going to tell you that you succeeded in life?
Nothing.
Okay, got it. I feel the same.
I mean, I think I'm a freedom seeker.
Yeah,
I know what motivates me.
right. Right.
But so many of the things that motivate me are very base, you know,
Huh.
power, freedom, knowledge. I mean, you know, the poets tell us that seeking these things is generally a mistake, right? Uh, but I didn't have any choice in the mistake. You know, I came to this world as I am
With these desires.
with these things, you know,
Yeah.
and I could choose to follow them, or I could choose to deny them. And I think that on the whole, denying them is is a mistake because you know there really is only one life. You know, there's only you get this. This is what you have, and it's a gift.
Hmm.
And to deny that gift is not just to deny the gift. It's also to deny everything that the gift could bring, and it's also to deny the entire background that makes the gift identifiable. That sounds sort of esoteric, but what I mean by that is, I mean, let's say that your gift is music. If that's your gift, well, okay, maybe some people would say something like, "Well, I don't want to be a musician because I couldn't handle the notoriety," or "I'm afraid that I'll do it wrong," or you know, whatever reason. It's impractical. You know, my mother and father don't want me to, whatever it is. Well, you're not just denying the gift that you have, you're denying yourself. You're denying who you are, and 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 you know, if you deny who you are, you deny the entire world out of which you came.
Right.
So, just going back to what I was saying about, you know, what I was given. I mean, you know, a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for freedom, a thirst for power, clean power, not power in the sense
Yeah.
that I leverage my social position over people, but power in the sense that my yes is a yes and my no is a no.
Right.
That kind of power, clean power, high
Yes.
quality, high energetic power.
Yeah.
To deny the want for that, the need for that, the thirst for that would be to deny my entire life, and then I may as well be dead. So I guess to answer your question, how do I define success? I suppose I define success by having the strength to abide in one's authenticity. I suppose that would
I
be success to me.
yeah. I completely agree with that. That's why I don't want to hold back from what I say in this podcast.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to virtue signal. I don't want to
yeah,
join the narrative that everyone else is in because that's not me.
yeah. Fuck you,
That's
Bob Iger.
I
We're gonna say what we want.
I I yeah, it's like you said, you if you deny yourself, you're denying the world.
Yeah.
Because if we're going back to that symbol of dreaming, and something emerging from the darkness, you as the dreamer emerge from the darkness, and the dream emerges from your own darkness. And
Right.
if you deny the light of the dream, you're denying the void-like space from whence it came. You're denying existence, life itself. And I I think it behooves every single human being, and we talk about this so much on this podcast, but to become yourself.
Yes.
And that is the only thing there really is to do. And I don't care how awesome or how terrible that self is. Just become it, because that's what I think if we could guess, that's probably what all there that you're here to do. And I think it's the only way you can really have peace with yourself. It's the only way you can go to bed it's the only way you can die. It's the only way you can die and be okay with dying. You want to have a relaxed
That's right.
relationship with death?
That's
Become
right.
yourself.
I mean, dying with regret in your heart is, I think, the ultimate tragedy.
Yeah, don't die with your song in your heart is something I think you've said to me before.
That's one of those things that's out there. It's practically an idiom.
But it's true.
It's true.
I mean, just don't. Like, and
Yeah, right.
that's my deepest desire for myself, and that's my deepest desire for everyone. I don't want you to be cloaked in all the fucking narratives that everyone else is spewing right now. I don't want you to protect
Yeah, right.
something that doesn't need protecting just so that you feel good, or like so that there's no threat. Be okay with the threat. Die in truth, the truth of who you are. Otherwise, why, like you said, you might as well be dead. Like, why are
Yeah,
you
right.
here if you're not gonna
Living
be
death.
yourself?
You're a zombie.
Yeah, you're dead before you're dead.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And to put a ribbon on that, and maybe we can end it here before we go into the bonus minutes, but one of the things you said about this film during the week when we were originally talking about whether it's a success or a failure is you said, where is it? You said that it's a success because he's further articulating who he is.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So even if he didn't get the exact result he wanted, the entire process and the final result he did get further allows him to become himself. And that can feel really pyrrhic and disappointing sometimes, but that might be really all there is to it, is just become yourself. Nature wants you to become your nature.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think nature is completely indifferent.
Well, that's another debate. Is nature
We'll save that
indifferent,
for another one.
or is nature supportive?
Yeah.
We'll answer that later, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
There are more tidbits I would like to talk about with the film that are less about the bigger ideas and more about like moments I liked, but I want to save that for the bonus
Okay.
minutes. And so for
All right.
those of you who don't know, the bonus minutes are when we go off on another tangent for 30, 20 minutes and we put it on our Patreon and you can listen if you join us as a member. It's only $5 a month. You get access to the bonus minutes, early access posts, all my written poems, lots of other goodies, the chat room where you can talk to us directly about what you think instead of here in the comments where you're going to get trolled. Like it's a great place. Come hang out with us. And you can join us at patreon.com/filmpoems. Anything else, Will?
We love you all.
Yes, we love you. Please become yourself. Okay. See y'all on the next one. Oh, the next one, it's gonna be our wild card episode. We're gonna watch the 1977 animated movie Wizards.
Wizards.
We're doing it. Because it's fucking wild card week. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Wizards.
All right. See you for Wizards next week. Bye-bye.